Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of my YouTube channel. This week, I wanted to talk about the features of your house, such as the roof, the HVAC, those sorts of items that you can find in and on your house, how long those last, when you should expect to replace those, and what that does for the value of your house. So we'll start with the roof, the cover of your house, one of the biggest features. That's one of the first things people always ask me when they're looking at houses. How's the roof? What is the age of the roof? What's the condition of the roof? That's what they also always ask the home inspector. Typically, you can expect a roof to last about 20 to 25 years. Once it gets to that point, it's time to start looking at replacements. Some roofs do better than others depending on who installed it, depending on adverse weather events occurring on the property and on the roof, your climate. All those things can vary, but for the most part, you can expect a 20-year roof life, more or less. And so then you want to replace that. It's an expensive, cumbersome process to replace a roof. So if the newer roof, the nicer roof you can have on your house, the better for the resale value. That'll really go a long way with attracting buyers and getting your house sold if you have a brand new roof on there already. It's pricey, but it'll also help you get a lot more out of your house. So it's a very, very good investment to make. And on the other end, if you do buy a house and your inspector says it's a little worn down, or he kind of gives you an estimate of the age of it, that's when you should kind of think about how long you'll have till you, unfortunately, will have to replace it yourself. Next, we'll move on to the HVAC. For an air conditioner, you can expect an AC to last anywhere from 20 to 25 years. Sometimes they'll last longer than that. Sometimes they may even give out beforehand, but the average is 20 to 25 years. Again, that's something that your home inspector, when you're first under contract for a property, he or she will look at that, kind of give you an estimate of what the condition is of the HVAC or of the AC, and go from there. And then for a furnace, you can expect that to go from 20 to 30 years on average. Just again, depends on the brand, the condition, all of that fun stuff. I highly recommend you get your HVAC tuned up each year by a professional. They'll come out to your house, and for a very reasonable rate, they will take a look at your equipment, upgrade it, do any work needed on it to keep it running and lasting longer than if you don't have that looked at on a year-to-year basis. And I especially recommend when you first move into a property, if it's not a new build, I highly recommend that you have an HVAC technician come out and take a look at the AC and the furnace on a newly purchased home, so they can kind of give you an estimate of the condition and how long it'll last before you need to start thinking about replacing that. And again, when it comes to an AC and a furnace, if you can replace that, that'll really help out with the value, because that is another cumbersome process, another expensive item to have installed on the house. So if you can have that installed before moving out, that'll help you as well with your resale value, and that'll attract more buyers, because that's one less thing for them to worry about when they move in. For a water heater, a tankless water heater can last you quite a while, maybe 20 years. A regular water heater, standard one, can be 10 to 15 years. So keep that in mind, and always think about replacing that as you get closer to that mark. And one more thing, try to check on the dates of these things when you are buying a house. Have your agent check with the seller and the seller's agent about the condition, the year, the life of some of these items that are important to the structural integrity of the house. So that way you'll know how long you have before you've got to replace that yourself. And maybe you look into getting a home warranty to protect all this stuff, even if it's just for your first year. Aside from that, those are probably the big ones that you need to look at when you're moving into a house. Just keep that in mind as you're doing the home search process as well. I mean, when you're doing showings, take a look at the roof, take a look at the HVAC in the backyard or in the basement. Try to test the water heater, see how the hot water is doing. Those are things you want to think about and look at before you make a purchase on the house, because if you have to replace that in the immediate future, well, that's just another cost on top of everything else that you're paying for already with the home buying process. So keep that in mind, think about that. That's one more thing for you to consider when you're going through the home buying process, some of your expenses you'll have once you're in the house and processing down the road. Hope this was helpful. Hope you were able to learn something and have another tool in your box for your house hunting this summer. Everyone take care. I'll see you next week.